Guys, if you hear, good evening, everyone. Good evening, everyone, and thank you for coming to our second General Assembly of the Fall 21 semester. My name is Bill Davis. I am the United Student Council President. At this time, I will call the meeting into order at 12:05 p.m. on October 15th, 2021. At this time, I yield the floor for our roll call to Madam Secretary, um, Madam Secretary Nguyen. So I yield the floor to Madam Secretary Nguyen.
Thank you, Mr. President. So now I'm gonna start the roll call. Mr. President,
Present.
Madam Vice President,
Present.
Madam Secretary, I'm present. Mr. Treasurer,
Present.
Madam Parliamentarian, one more time for Madam Parliamentarian. The last call for Madam Parliamentarian. Okay, let's move on. Madam Online Representative,
Present.
okay, the next one. Advisor.
Present.
So next, I'm gonna keep going for the roll call for the our SGA. So any representative for Central Campus SGA?
I'm present. Treasurer of Central Campus, Amy Merker.
Thank you. Next, representative for Coleman Campus?
Present, Karina Correa, historian/secretary.
Thank you. Representative for Northeast Campus?
Jacqueline Machuca, the Vice President for the Northeast College.
Thank you. Representative for Northwest Campus?
Present, Eugenia Ayala, Secretary.
Thank you. Next, representative for Southeast Campus?
They're present. This is President Davis. One of the representatives from Southeast is having difficulties. His name is Pedro Durez, and he is our treasurer for Southeast. He's on.
Thank you. Next, representative for Southwest Campus?
Nicole Kwan, Secretary of Southwest.
Thank you. Okay. Let me go back another time for roll call for USC officer. So Madam Parliamentarian.
Here.
Thank you. I just finished the roll call for our General Assembly meeting today. I yield the floor back to Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary Nguyen. At this time, I yield the floor for our rules and orders of the day. I yield the floor to Madam Parliamentarian Hang Bang. Madam Parliamentarian, the floor is yours.
Robert's Rules of Order parliamentarian procedures will be used for this meeting. Whoever is speaking will need to yield the floor to the next person speaking. I yield the floor to Mr. President, the new business.
Thank you, Parliamentarian Hang Bang. At this time, I will move into our new business. Our new business will be USC officers reports. So, and return to campus student survey. At this time, instead of me getting the floor back after I yield the floor to the next person. I would like to have each person who is done speaking yield the floor to the next representative. At this time, my USC report is I have worked with college administration regarding the COVID-19 student return survey to campus that went out at the end of September. I will go over that more in detail, and I have also held meetings with Dr. Graves and separate meetings with some SGA officers. At this time, I yield the floor to Vice President Larga Perez, who is our Vice President.
Thank you. It's letting us buzz. Sorry. Okay, let me pull this up. Give me one little second. Let me mute myself, y'all. I'm gonna pull up the survey.
Madam Vice President, go ahead with your report. I won't do the return campus survey until after officers report.
Oh, okay. Awesome. So currently we are in the works of getting together a sort of a town hall like we did. And we want to share our new resources for the students. So we've been having a lot of feedback that it's kind of hard to have all of the available resources, like they can't find it, for example, on the website, or it's not readily available where students are having like easy access to it. So we wanted to actually have a document. So this is kind of, let me share it too. This is the one that Coleman is doing, and I'm currently working on a one that's for all of us. So you can see this, right? Can you see this?
Correct.
Okay, good. I was like, oh, I hope this is sharing. So this is how it's going to look, and it's going to have all of the things on this screen, and we will send it out to y'all. I know we have some emails. Hold on, give me 1 second. And the COVID survey is going to be, what is this? Sent out as well. I know you said that later. But other than that, we also are going to have a brochure with all of the information that we're going to have printed out and displayed for everybody so you can have it readily available. Now let me share back this. Hold on, give me 1 second, y'all. Can you hear me now? Sorry, I was talking to myself.
Yes, ma'am, Madam Vice.
Thank you, Mr. President. So next up, I'm going to yield the floor. And I'm going to yield it to our treasurer for his report. Hold on, give me 1 second. This is not working.
The floor gets yielded to Madam Secretary.
Thank you. Sorry. So not to our Mr. Treasurer. I'm going to yield it back to our Madam Secretary, and it's going to be V. Thank you, V. Sorry. I was literally still talking to myself.
Thank you, Madam Vice President and Mr. President. So now I'm going to do the report of the USC officer about the international students department. We collaborate with USC, and we have some I'm going to talking about the meeting that we have with the director of the International Student Service, Mr. Niti. So we basically we working on the meeting object like ISP and student life partnership. The meeting outcome is to share the USC student life events in October 2021 to ISP in order to reach out to our students, including international students as well. So we have picked out 4 events in October. The first one is gonna the Get LinkedIn. The second one is the Richardson dance class. The third one is personality with color, and the fourth is the pumpkin carving 101. And later on, we're gonna have the upcoming event on October 27, 2021 at 12 to host a panel discussion regarding how to get students involved on campus. I just finished the report, the USC officer for our meeting today. Thank you. And I yield the floor to Mr. Treasurer.
Okay, Madam Secretary. So good evening, everyone. So I'm gonna my report. So first, I want to mention that I have worked on the survey for the student awareness of United Student Council. So the main objective of this survey is to inform students. So what we do here in the United Student Council, encourage them to join the United Student Council. And for our next meeting, I will give you some results of this survey went with the student. And I think it will be like a really good results. So second, I had a meeting with Dr. Minas, the director of counseling and ability services. And we are working together to pass these students the information about all the services that of the counseling service that HCC have for them. So when they are facing some difficulties through the semester, they can really know where can find solutions to whatever they are going through. And the third one, so finally I will start working on my SFAC Finance Committee. So soon we will set up a meeting according to the Constitution, and the meetings are held once a month on the first Friday of every month. And the SFAC currently have 7 students representatives. From Central, it's Amy Merker, from Coleman, Montserrat Galvez, from Northeast, Jacqueline Machuca, from Southeast, Pedro Duarte, Northwest, Lederian Pribot, Southwest, Audrey Mitchell, and the last one, it's me, the USC Treasurer, Leonard Duenas. So that's my report for now. Thanks everyone, and I yield the floor to parliamentarian. Thank you.
Thank you. Like our Vice President mentioned earlier, one of our goals as the United Student Council is to create an information sheet that we can give to students that will have multiple resources like financial, library, and everything. One of my duties have been to work on getting the top 5 resources, library resources that students should know of and where to get them. So I've had a couple of meetings with Ms. Mildred Joseph, head of library resources at HCC Northeast Campus, and we came up with the top 5 resources, library resources that every student should know, which I have submitted to our president, Dale Davis, and our vice president, and very soon they'll be wrapping things up to create the sheet. That's all for my report. I yield the floor to our online representative, right? I can see them.
You're correct, Madam Parliamentarian.
Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Parliamentarian. For my online report, I met with the online college president, Dr. Ford, on September 27, 2021, with almost 75% students online, creating more inclusion between in-person and online college student involvement and leadership was shared. We would like to see local online SGAs in the future, as well as student organizations. We also spoke about the resource initiative that United Student Council is working on to provide readily accessible links to our students in one location. Dr. Ford appreciated the idea and was very excited to share that online college has its own advisors, tutors, and resources for financial aid. She also proposed meeting with United Student Council on a monthly basis to stay connected and share upcoming news for online college, as well as keep an ear out for what's going on with United Student Council. The goal for now is that we'll be setting up focus groups geared towards online students to hear their needs. We're in the beginning stages of developing those meeting times and strategies to enhance United Student Council's involvement with online college. I can't see who I need to yield the floor back to. Vice President Lagaspada. Okay, I yield the floor to the advisor.
I have no updates at this time. I yield the floor back to the president.
Thank you, Madam Advisor. At this time, I will go through the second item under new business, which is our return to campus student survey. Can you pull that up for me, Madam Vice President?
Yes, sir. Sorry, I'm over here struggling. This thing is, of course, it was working, and now it decides not to.
No problem. Take your time.
Okay, here we are. Start using. Cool. Okie dokie. Can you see it?
Yes, ma'am.
Let me get this away. Alrighty.
All right, thank you. At this time, I will go over our student survey that was sent out to our students at the last week of September. The fall, and I will send this to each college president also for they can have the PowerPoint for y'all to look through it and ask, refer any questions or concerns or comments that you have. You can email them back to me at the USC email. The survey, it included students registered in at least one class, one hybrid, one lab, or in-person course starting October 4th. Students who were only taking online courses were excluded from that survey. We had received 6,554 responses, which is 25.7%. Thank you, Madam Advisor, for that. And the email is also in the chat. As you can see on this slide, we received a high number of responses on the Monday, followed by the trends going downward into the 23rd. 24th. So the 23rd is the day that we received the most responses. Can you go to the next slide for me, Madam Vice President? Already in person, in any course, we have 4,064 students, which is equivalent to 62.4 students who do not participate in any classes that are currently meeting in person. And we received some amount of equivalent to 37.6% of yes from our students. Next slide, please. The expectations, the classes to be entirely in person, as you can see, there's a higher number. It's 2,720, which is equivalent to 47.5%. Then you see a trend of the classes to be entirely online at 970, which is equivalent to 16.9%. Then you also see the trend of the classes to be both on person and in class at 1,377, which is equivalent to 24%. The unsure was 655, which is equivalent to 11.6. On the next slide, you can see the early registration. We've seen a trend at our earliest peak, which was August, with 2,400 451, which is equivalent to 43.1% of students who registered for courses, which was in August. You see a number, also a higher number in July going into August for 1,726, which is 30.3%. And then in September, you have 323 students who had a 5.7%. On the next slide, you can see the returning October 4th courses. You are any of the classes scheduled to return in person? You have 5 that their classes are scheduled to return in person, with 594, which is 9.1%, as continuing either online or their professor did not give them a definite answer on returning to class. On the next slide, which is continuing online, do you take any classes that will continue online? You had a short number of 2,198 students who said no, and you see a high number of 4,304 students, which is equivalent to 66.2 students who will continue online. On the next slide, you have the preference. In-person preference is 1,894, which is equivalent to 33.9%. And you see a bigger margin when it comes to online courses, with 3,004 students with equivalent to 53.7, with 53.7, which is a much higher number than undecided and in person. On the next slide, you will see the concerns. I will go through these concerns one-on-one. I am concerned about the risk of COVID exposure to COVID-19. You see strongly disagree and somewhat disagree are in the lower numbers of 7 and 5. Then you have neither agree nor disagree, which is in 11. And you see the biggest concern is at the strong agree and somewhat agree, with 58 strong and 19 in between. If I am exposed to COVID, I am concerned about the impact of COVID-19 on my own health. Again, you see the low numbers of 6 and 5 for strongly disagree and somewhat disagree. And you see 9 for neither agree nor disagree. And then you see a big margin of 64 that says that they are strongly agree, and a 17 that says somewhat agree. If exposed, I am concerned about the impact of COVID-19 on a close friend or family member. You see the same trend in the lower margins of the strongly disagree and somewhat disagree, and the same steady pattern between the neither agree nor disagree. And you see a big response of 72% of students with strongly agree, and also 14 with somewhat agree. With the next slide, I trust those on campus. You see strongly disagree, which is and somewhat disagree, with 21 and 16%. Neither is 17, and somewhat agree, strongly agree, sorry, is 21 to 24. For I am comfortable
Point of order. Mr. President, you're breaking up. We can't hear you.
Can y'all hear me? Let me let's see this.
Yes,
Yes,
we can
madam.
hear
Yes,
you.
madam Vice President, we can hear you.
Awesome, awesome. Okay, hold on. Let me try to share this. Hold on. I don't know why presentation has like an annotation thing and it's like popping like this. Did I hear that? So I'm sorry that that kept going off. This is because I had it on present mode. So learn my lesson. What the heck is this? Okay. Awesome. And boom. Can y'all see it on y'all's end?
No, we cannot see the screen yet.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you. Let me see. Back here. Share. Boom. Okay. So number, what were we on, like 5? I learn equally well in person or online. Sorry about that, y'all. I know he's trying to. I've been having technical difficulties as well.
I'm back,
So.
Madam Vice President.
Oh, awesome. Okay, but.
Okay, thank you. Sorry for that. I had got disconnected. On the what slide were we on? I trust those on campus. I went through that. On the next slide, which is I learn well in person or online. You see strongly disagree and somewhat disagree. Somewhat tied with the neither agree nor disagree at a 24 level. And you see the trend move up forward and the strongly agree to somewhat agree. I learn better in person. You see the disagree and the somewhat disagree trend downward with neither agree nor disagree in the middle of 29. And then you see a trend going upward with those who do learn better in person. I learn better online, which is 17 and 15 disagree, 27 still a heavy number in the middle of neither online or in person. And then you see somewhat of a trend going up on the 20 to 21 on agree to strongly agree. Important key takeaways would be to communicate benefits of face-to-face instruction, communicate the safety precautions that HCC has put in place along with the CDC guidelines that we are following. And we also remind students of the HCC Source Safe Pledge that will help minimize the risk to themselves and to those around them. Students expressed doubts that others on campus will follow guidelines. There was a major number of those kind of concerns brought to us. You will see on this slide that it highlights the value of individual action, which is doing our part as individuals, such as washing our hands, wearing our masks, social distancing, hand sanitizer, and all that in place. So the United Student Council, will work with college administration to see how we could help our students understand about the HEC Safe Pledge. And we will also remind students about the cleaning protocols and guidance on surface contamination risk and the safety protocols that HEC provides for us as students. Another part of the key takeaways on the next slide. Some students have mentioned how stressful and anxiety producing and depressing their experience has been online. And so what we will also do, as mentioned, for the Eagle resources, we will also put in there of our counseling resources and our support. And we will continue to push that and advocate that through the rest of the semester and even beyond the semester. Because as we all know, we don't have a deadline on when COVID will end. So we want to make sure that those resources are available for our students. Continue awareness of campaigns and outreach for students' technology needs. For those who do not know, HCC offers free hotspots and free Dell laptops for your courses that you could check out. and you can check it out for the semester, and then you can recheck it out for your next semester that you are enrolled. I will send out that information with our resources as soon as that is complete. Can you go to the next page, slide, Madam Secretary? I mean, Vice President, sorry. As we can see, many students did express returning back to camp in-person instruction with better learning experience and doubt of being successful online in their courses and beyond. For the next slide, we had 13,867 open-ended responses. If given the option, would you prefer the class to continue online or return to person? The response on that was 4,167. What concerns, if any, do you have about returning to in-person classes? 3,672 responded to that. What concerns, if any, do you have about continuing your online? We have 3,446 responses on that. And then if there's anything else you would like us to know, we had 2,582 responses on that. This is a very long, lengthy PowerPoint, so I'm going to stop right there because I know we have classes and everything after our General Assembly. So I will forward this PowerPoint to each SGA president for you to look over, along with the explanation of how the survey was conducted. And you can email me back at the HCC email with any questions or comments that you may have. And also, I want to also put each student on alert that USC did send out a memo regarding the student survey to each student who is currently enrolled in courses. And those, we haven't received any responses regarding that, but we do plan on sending out another survey going into the end of this month, going into the early start registration for spring of 2022. At this time, we're going to continue on with our agenda. I would go into our old business at this time. Can you scroll up a little bit, Madam Vice President? Thank you dearly. At this time, I yield the floor for our ISP update from our Secretary Nguyen. I yield the floor to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. So as earlier report under USC officer report, I have talking about the ISP and USC partnership. Let me share my screen so that later on we have some people just coming up in the meeting. I guess it doesn't let me to share my screen on Zoom. So let me say it again one more time for the ISP and USC collaboration update. So we have basically for the meeting outcome, we have like to share the USC student live events in October 2021 to ISP in order to reach out to all students, including international students. And we have picked out 4 events in October. The first one is a Get LinkedIn. The second one is Richardson Dance Class. The third one is Personality with Color. And the fourth one is Pumpkin Carving 101. And then we have the upcoming event, upcoming meeting with director of the ISP, Mr. Niti, at 12 on October 27 to host a panel discussion regarding how to get students involved on campus. So that's all for the update for the international student program. Thank you. So next, I'm gonna yield the floor back to Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Secretary Nguyen. At this time, on the agenda, it was an update regarding our student resource document. Madam Vice President had gave that update during her officer's report. So we're gonna omit that from old business. And at this time,
Yes,
am
so we
going
will
to,
email that out.
what was that, Madam Vice President?
I said yes, and we will email that out.
Okay,
Sorry,
thank
I
you.
really muted myself again. Yeah, let me share this again. Sorry.
The floor. Before I yield the floor for our Student Government Association reports, I would like for each SGA presenter, after you are done, please yield the floor to the next college who comes after you. And at the end, when Southwest is done, they could yield the floor back over to myself, and we will continue on with our agenda. So at this time, I yield the floor over to SGA Central for their USC report.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is Amy Merker, Treasurer of Central Campus, with our report. So first of all, I would like to report that we were able to fill the Vice President position at our campus, and our newest member is Gabriel Solis, who is unfortunately not able to join us today. Then I would also, would you like me to share the committee assignments at this point, Mr. President?
No, I will come back for the committee appointees.
All right, thank you. So I will skip this and we'll just give you a report that we did a Welcome Back Week event, October 4th through 6th. And it was, I think it was really successful. And we were holding it with Student Life on Central Campus in person. And also we had the SACS COC on-site interviews on October 5th from 10:30 to 11:15 a.m. And I'm proud to say that I think most of our, or I think basically all of our SGA officers attended. That is my report. So I am yielding the floor to the representative of Coleman campus.
Thank you for yielding the floor to me. Hello, everyone. My name is Karina Correa, and I'm the historian and secretary for Coleman campus, and will be representing Coleman for campus for today. This week was a busy week at Coleman campus as we hosted our breast cancer awareness event this Tuesday, October 12th, which is a success, and over 80 people attended, as well as our domestic violence event yesterday, Thursday the 14th, where more than 80 people attended. We had a banner where people signed up to support the fight against domestic violence, which will be showcased which showcased the community coming together for a good cause. Also, our second General Assembly meeting was on October 13th, which was this Wednesday at 6 in the afternoon. 6 people attended, and we're striving on spreading the assembly meeting so students will attend and receive all of our resources. We're doing this by meeting with faculty, as we did earlier today, and speak with them on how they can help SGA better deliver resources to students. This being by combining emails so students can see emails from teachers, SGA, and Student Life easier without scrolling through multiple graded assignment emails, as well as updating and sending out new resource sheets. The Vice President showed that resource sheet earlier. We're gonna update that, and so it can be better described on where people can find these offices and where they can go. The president is also working towards having, the SGA Coleman president is also working towards having more of these resources and events announced on the school newspaper. Our treasurer has met with financial advisor Daniel Shaw and is now setting dates to provide online advice and financial help for students. The first meeting will be on November 9th. Financial basics who will teach students how to fill and find HERF funds through their student account, and FAFSA guiding for those who were filling out the account for the first time by themselves. Our humanitarian is setting up events for the community. One of the events is decorating sandwich bags for children across Houston. She is setting it up in a way for the departments to compete against each other and decorate the most bags, in which the winning department will receive a prize, such as a pizza party, as well as a blood drive, so students can come down and donate blood, which can be distributed to the hospitals surrounding Coleman. Finally, the hallways dashboards have been finished, which showcase the positions and the faces of SGA, another board having listed the information of financial help where students where the student office can be found, and dates for financial online events. We are continuously developing new ideas on how to push out resources and bring together Coleman community every day. And this brings me to the end of my report. Thank you everyone for listening, and I yield the floor to the Northeast representative.
Thank you so much. My name is Larissa Nhagban, SGA President at Northeast HCC. Our report for this week, first of all, we have 2 new members, the Vice President, Jacqueline Muchaka, and humanitarian, Adrian Miranda. On September 30th, we had our first town hall meeting with our college president, Dr. Humphrey. We had a couple of students attend. They were able to ask questions, chat, and Dr. Humphrey was able to answer all of the questions. Yesterday, October 14, we had our second General Assembly with about 6 to 7 people attended, and that's it. Our Secretary, Ms. Charlie Green, is currently working on a roadmap initiative that will be distributed at the front desk. Basically, the roadmap initiative is like an information sheet that can be given out to students when they first walk in and don't know what to do. So on that information sheet, we want to have resources about the steps they have to take to be able to enroll at HCC. We had a couple of meetings with administration and registration stakeholders, and we've come up with a draft of how that information sheet is going to look like. I can show that to you right now. Can you guys see my screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, this is a draft, a rough draft that we've come up with so far, and we have what do you want to know, what classes, programs are offered at Houston Community College. This is what we have. We have the websites and everything. We're still working on it. We're still planning to have more meetings with this registration and administration, registration and enrollment stakeholders, and we'll keep you guys posted. That's all we have for our report. I yield the floor to Northwest Campus.
Thank you. Northwest would like to report on our past event, which was held yesterday. We had 50 students registered, 25 students that attended. It was our Mental Wellness Warriors event, where we had speaker Stephanie McKenzie. It was a very, very good event. We were all very happy with it. On ongoing events, we talked about our food and toiletry drive. We have the collection boxes have been designed and the order has been placed. And as soon as they come in, we will be placing those at the A-Leaf, Katy, and Spring Branch campuses and at the management offices. We also have our upcoming events, which are the community service reading event that will be held on October 28th from 8:40 a.m. to 3:20 p.m. We will have 2 sessions where we'll be splitting up grade levels to read books at Morton Ranch Elementary. We also have our Taking Charge of Your Finances event, which will be held on November 11th a virtual event from 6 to 7:30 p.m. co-hosted by USC and Southeast SGA. We also have our HCC Without Borders event, November 14th, virtual event as well, and that will be held from 12 to 1:30 p.m. Right now, Northwest SGA is working on a form, student concerns form, that will help us facilitate the tracking and also responding to the student concerns. And that is all I have to report for Northwest SGA. I yield the floor over to Southeast.
Thank you. Hello, everyone. My name is Nayeli Reyes. I am the humanitarian for Southeast SGA. And to start off, I would like to say that we had our Welcome Week 2.0 on October 4th. We were able to give HCC t-shirts, masks, and reusable water bottles. Next, we had our SACS COS virtual interview on October 8th. We also had our breast cancer awareness walk on October 12th. We will also have our golf tournament on October 20th. And later that day, we are planning to have a movie night. On October 29th, we plan to attend the TACHE event at UHD. We will also be hosting the Trunk and Treat event. Later that day, on the 30th, we will have the Day of the Death event and the Day of the Death parade at the Magnolia Park. We will also be having a collaboration with the Northwest campus on November 6th, taking charge of your finances event. We'll be in charge of the second place prizes, a gift card, financial book, and a financial planner. Another event in progress is the collaboration with their staff, the turkey giveaway on November 19th from 3 to 4:30 p.m. As of now, we are planning to have our first General Assembly with the Southeast SGA organization next week. And we will be having our second mock trial assembly next Wednesday. And lastly, our president is doing some SGA trainings for new and current officers. Thank you. I yield the floor to Southwest College.
Mr. President, Madam Vice President, advisors, and all the officers, a very good afternoon, everyone. Unfortunately, our president is not here, so I'm Ayan Anis, Vice President of Southwest SGA, and I'll be taking over here. Regarding the events and reports, I would hand over our Secretary, Nicole Kwan, to speak about the September events, and I'll be continuing forward for the October events.
Thank you, Vice President. This is Nicole Kwan, Secretary of Southwest SGA. I'll go over some of the events that happened last month. So we have a SGA General Assembly. It was hosted on Microsoft Teams, and we talked about some officers' reports, announcements from different clubs, and an open forum for everyone to announce their events for the next month. And also we have a welcome back event at Missouri. And SGA collaborated with Student Life, and then we set up an SGA information table at the Missouri campus. The Vice President and President attended that event. We also had a officer meeting a few weeks ago, went over our event calendar and our responsibilities. And then we also reported that we have been using Monday.com to keep track of our calendar, resources, events schedule, task, and officers' contact information. Now, Vice President will go over our plans for October.
So I would continue from where she left off. We have been working on collaborating with the Student Life. So when we did the welcome back at Missouri, we had our table and our bench set up for SGA, wherein we invited students to understand and know about SGA, as well as making sure that we let them know about the vacant positions that we have. And we've received a lot of people who are in line. So hopefully within a couple of weeks or so, we'll be having our entire offices stacked up. Now, speaking about the rest of the events, we are hosting our financial aid event that's going to happen on 22nd. And we feel like there are a lot of students who do not know much about financial aid, and especially we're targeting the freshmen who are right there. So we have a perfect plan on how we initiate this. So what we do is that we reach out to all the EDUC professors who can reach out to the freshmen, and we'll be looking forward for them to attend the event. Then we are planning on for a Halloween night, wherein we'll be planning on decorating the entire campus. And probably we'll be having a game, and most probably we are trying to use the trend of Squid Game so that that can attract more of the students out there. Then apart from that, we usually had our general assemblies meetings and all of those stuff as usual over here in this month. And also we spoke to Dr. Madeline Burillo about who is our president for Southwest, and we've given her our report and she's impressed about it. So we're glad that we're working in the right direction. And finally, we have our student lounge open, a newly designed lounge in Stafford campus. So we are very soon going to inaugurate this. Thank you so much, and I yield the floor back to Mr. President. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Sorry about that. I had myself. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay. For that. Let's try this now. Can you hear me now?
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you for that, and thank you for the verification, everyone. At this time, I will go through our committees. I will call each committee by the designated name, and then I will go through each school for the appointees of that committee. At this time, we will do district-wide initiatives committee. At this time, Central, can I have your appointment for the district-wide initiatives committee?
Yes, just give me 1 second. The district-wide initiatives committee will be attended by our secretary, Vi Nguyen.
Thank you for that, Central. At this time, can I have Coleman's appointee? At this time, can a representative from Coleman campus give me the appointee for the district-wide initiatives committee?
That would, that would be myself, Karina, the historian / secretary.
Thank you for that, Madam Karina. At this time, can I have Northeast's appointee for the district-wide committee?
As of right now, we don't have any appointees. Our 2 officers that just joined, we haven't had an opportunity to talk to them about it.
Thank you for that, Northeast. Can you get that information to me as soon as possible, please?
No problem.
At this time, can I have Northwest's appointee for the district-wide initiatives committee?
We have Emerson, our Vice President, Emerson Gomez.
Thank you for that, representative from Northwest. At this time, for Southeast, I could announce that it will all, our treasurer, Pedro, will be sitting on the district-wide committee. And at this time, can I have the Southwest appointee for the district-wide committee?
Yes, Mr. President. This is Ayan Anis, and I'm being a part of the district-wide initiative committee.
Thank you for that, Mr. Vice President. At this time, we will go into our governmental and external affairs committees. Can I have Central's appointee to the governmental and external affairs committee, please?
Hey. I'm sorry. So I'm apologies. I'm also in another meeting right now. So you were calling for the governmental and external affairs committee, correct?
Correct.
Okay, this will be attended by our Vice President, Gabriel Solis.
Thank you for that, representative from Central. At this time, can I have Coleman's representative appointee for the governmental and external affairs committee?
Excuse me, could you say that again?
At this time, can I have the governmental and external affairs committee appointee for Coleman?
That would be Jasmine, the president.
Okay, thank you for that. If I stand corrected, Northeast, you did not have time for any committees, correct?
Yes.
Okay, thank you for that. Can I have the Northwest Governmental and External Affairs Committee appointee for Northwest?
Sorry, we have Alejandro Martinez.
Thank you for that, representative from Northwest. At this time, I will announce the appointee for Governmental and External Affairs Committee for Southeast. That will be Ms. Rosa. She will lead that committee for Governmental and External Affairs from Southeast. At this time, can I have the Governmental and External Affairs Committee for Southwest, please?
That is Nicole Kwan, our secretary for Southwest SGA.
Okay, thank you for that. At this time, I will yield the floor to the chairman, sorry, for the Student Financial Advisory Committee. Once you're done, can you please yield the floor back to me? Mr. Treasurer?
Yes, I'm sorry, Mr. President. Can you say that again, please?
Can I have the appointees for the SFAC committee that you have?
Oh, okay, the one that I read before. Yeah, hold on one second. Yeah, give me 1 second. Okay, so I have for Central, it's Amy Merker. For Coleman, it's Montserrat Galvez. From Northeast, Jacqueline Machuca. Southeast, Pedro Duarte. Northwest, Lederian Prevot. Southwest, Audrey Mitchell. And me as treasurer, Leonard Duenas from Northwest.
Okay, thank you for that, Mr. Treasurer, at, at this time, I will go through our investigations committee. Can I have Central's appointee to the investigations committee?
Thank you, Mr. President. So for Central SGA, under the investigations committee, we'll have our president, Mr. Gustav, will sit on this committee. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Secretary Nguyen. At this time, can I have Coleman's investigative committee appointee?
That would be me, Karina Correa, historian / secretary.
Thank you for that, Representative from Coleman. I will omit Northeast at this time. Can I have the representative from Northwest for the investigations committee, please?
Yes, me, Eugenia Ayala, secretary.
Thank you for that, Madam Secretary. At this time, for the investigations committee for Southeast, I will announce the appointee of that. It will be Mrs. Nayeli, who is the humanitarian for Southeast. At this time, can I have the investigations committee appointee for Southwest, sorry about that.
Yeah, that'll be Shiza Ahmed, our president for Southwest SGA.
Thank you, Mr. Vice President. At this time, we have a standalone committee, which is the inclusive access. I will send out another email regarding the inclusive access to all presidents to share with their SGA members and what that committee will regard. So I will omit that from today's agenda at this time. And we will have an update regarding that at our next General Assembly. For student concerns, now that we move on to our student concerns, I open the floor up for any SGA member who has received any student concerns at their local campus or items that should be brought to the United Student Council. The floor.
So I can talk just a little bit, sorry. Jay Larga Espada, VP, my bad. But basically we met with some of the deans recently, and a big common theme was transferring. That's a big thing that everybody's kind of concerned about and wanting to know more about, whether it be transferring to our universities here downtown, like UHD or University of Houston. They've been wanting more information on that. So we actually are in the works of getting some sort of document made for that. So you can see like the partnerships, because right now we're working on some partnerships with those universities on making that little bridge easier, because I know that actually getting the transcripts and getting them moved was a big issue. So that's in the works. But yeah, that's pretty much just something that was brought up by deans.
Thank you for that, Madam Vice President. Are there any more student concerns at this time? If we do not have any further student concerns, if Madam Vice President could pull up the flyer of the collaboration between USC, Northwest, and Southeast, please. We will get this flyer posted to our presence page, as well as to the social medias of HCC and I will yield the floor over to Madam Vice President to expound on the taking charge of your finances event. Madam Vice President, I yield the floor to you.
I have been talking to myself, y'all. I was like, Christy, are you on? Christy is my amazing treasurer. I have Eugenia also, who's my secretary. So thank you so much for giving the report, Eugenia. and our appointees and all of that. So yeah, we're collaborating on this. I don't know if I don't want to take the credit. I'm not the one
Jay,
that
I
built it.
can jump on if you need
Thank
me
you.
to.
I was going to say I don't want to take the
Okay.
credit. Spotlight is
Okay.
yours, Christy.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam Vice President and Madam President of Northwest. We are working on and have an upcoming event that we have graciously been able to get 2 volunteer speakers for. Michaela Warren from Live Life Millennials and Toby Mathis from Anderson Business Advisors. We're at Northwest, we are very excited that United Student Council has decided to join us in hosting the 2nd place prize, and Student Government Southeast for co-hosting the 3rd place prize. The event is scheduled and being sent out to professors and anybody in the business, and we would love if fellow board members could share it if they're in the business or anybody. This event will cover a program called Live Life Millennials called Adulting 101, and Toby Mathis will be covering investing and his new book, Investing, I can't remember the name of the book, sorry. But he will cover investing and basic finance questions. Adulting 101 will cover building credit and starting your adult life as a independent from parents and independent for yourself. It's on November 11th. It's running from 6 to 7:30, and that's about it. The flyer kind of says it all.
Please yield the floor back to the president.
Sorry, I yield the floor back to Sir President Bill.
Thank you for that, Madam Treasurer of Northwest. At this time, I open the floor up for any other announcements from our SGA members, delegates.
No, but another quick announcement, just in case some people were wondering and were at the meeting yesterday. I know that we had an event. People were wondering how to get Stephanie McKenzie's book, our awesome guest speaker. Actually, she's on Amazon. If you just type in the name of her book, it's going to be How to Be Your Own Superhero, No Capes by Stephanie McKenzie. You're able to do that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank y'all for y'all's hard work. And I'll definitely get that resource list out to y'all and email to y'all on that. And yeah. Other than that, thank you, Mr. President, for your hard work and for meeting with a whole bunch of people going to the Board of Trustees meeting. I know that was a lot as well. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Madam Vice President. I'm gonna wait a few seconds before I move on, or I won't miss any SGA announcements that are coming up. If there are no further announcements, I will move on to adjournment. Before I move on to adjournment, I would just like to say thank you to each and every USC member and every SGA officer who works as the voice and who works on the behalf of our students here at HCCS. If there's nothing else to be stated at this time, I will adjourn the meeting at, if I say the time kind of backwards, don't mind me. I am in a different time zone. So at 1:14 p.m., I adjourn this meeting. Stay safe, everyone, and remember to wash your hands, social distance, and wear your mask. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you,
Everyone
Mr.
have a very
Vice
good
President,
weekend.
Mr. President. Yes, wash y'all's hands, guys. 20 seconds. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks, Jay. You too.
Good evening. I also dropped the link for the mental health book in the chat.
You are awesome. Can y'all see it? I don't know if it's just my screen. I can't see it yet. Okay, awesome. All righty, guys. Y'all have a great, great day, okay? Thank you, Mr. President, again. Thank you, Ms. Jana.